Alright guys, so we've been hanging out for a little while now, but let me formally introduce myself. My name is Angela, and I live in London. My greatest ambition in life is to eat my own body weight in sushi. Now, I want you to commit this to your memory. This truly is the first step towards our wonderful blossoming friendship. Because instead of politely asking you, do you know anyone else called Angela who lives in London? I can now ask you, do you know anyone else with my name who lives in my city? Or do you know anyone else who has the same ambitions as me? This means that whenever I want to talk to you about my name, location, or ambitions, I don't have to repeat myself and tell you the information that you've already committed to memory. So this is the same reason why we have something called variables in programming. In the same way that you've committed my name to your memory, we can commit pieces of data to the memory of the computer. But first, we need to enable the user to enter a piece of information. So let's learn about the prompt keyword. Now, if you open up Chrome and go to our developer tools, we're going to head into our sources to work inside Chrome snippets. Now, inside the same index.js, it's just a blank file at the moment. And I want you to write a prompt that asks the user, what is your name? And now, if I hit Command Enter or Control Enter on Windows, or simply just click over here, then it will run my code and it will show me a prompt. Now, a prompt is pretty much identical to an alert or a pop-up, but in this case, it actually allows the user to input something, namely a piece of text. So I'm going to tell it that my name is Angela. So what happened to that piece of data? How can I retrieve it back? What exactly just happened? Well, nothing. It's not committed to memory, so that piece of information is just out there in the air and it's lost. So how can we remember it? Well, we can use something called a variable. So for example, I can write something like var, my name is equal to the string, that's Angela. So now if I hit run, and I go into the console and type my name and hit enter, then it will know that my name is equal to the string Angela because I've saved this piece of data inside a variable. Now, let's take a look at variables in more detail. This is what the syntax looks like. The first word var is a keyword. And just as alert is a keyword or prompt is a keyword, this tells us that we are creating a new variable or creating a new data container. And that container has the name of whatever it is that we give it here. In this case, we called it my name. And then we set that variable to be equal to the value, which is the string Angela. Now, every time we refer to my name, the computer knows that we're talking about the string Angela. So let's dissect this syntax a little bit more and see what's happening behind the scenes. So whenever the computer encounters the keyword var, it essentially knows that it has to construct a new container or a new box. And this box gets given a name, whatever it is that we put after the word var. And in this case, we called it my name. Now, after the equal sign is what we're going to place inside the box. And in this case, it's the string that's Angela. And now we get to the end, there's a semicolon, we've finished our line of code, and that box has a lid placed on it. Now, the special feature of a var, and why it's called a var, is because it stands for the word variable. So that means you can vary the data that you keep inside it. So in the next instance, if I decide that I didn't really like my name and I wanted to change it, then I can tap into that same container by writing its name, in this case my name, and I can set it to equal a new value. And what that means is that the computer will find the box that has the name of my name, it'll take out the content that's currently contained and delete it, and then it will reassign it a new value depending on what I wrote on the right-hand side of the equal sign. And with that line of code, I've varied what's contained inside my box. Notice that in this case, I don't have to repeat the keyword var again. The word var is only used when you're constructing a new box. to contain your data, or when you're constructing a new variable. When you decide to use the variable, or when you decide to change the variable, you don't need to use that keyword var anymore. It only needs to occur once in the lifetime of your variables. Now, we know that we've saved this piece of data into the variable that's called my name. As a challenge, I want you to create an alert that shows the content of this variable, but you're not allowed to type any strings. Pause the video and see if you can figure it out. Alright, so this shouldn't be too hard. We already know how to write alerts. We just simply write the alert keyword, we open some parentheses, and inside we place whatever it is that we want to be displayed inside the alert. And in this case, we want to show the data that's contained inside the variable my name. So all we have to do is to refer to the name that we gave that variable. In this case, it's my name, and we can now hit run. And you can see that Angela gets printed because that is the value that's contained inside this variable or inside this box. So it's like going to a shelf where you've got lots of storage boxes and pulling out the box that's labeled my name to discover what's contained inside, which is the string Angela. Now, in the same way, we can save the information that the user inputs to our website. So, for example, we know that my name is equal to Angela, but what if we used a prompt to ask the user, what is your name? Now, unlike the last time, we're not going to lose this piece of information. We're going to keep it inside a variable. And that variable, we're going to give it a name. And we can call it anything we want. But let's think of something that makes sense. How about your name? And so now we're creating a new variable that's called your name. And the value of this variable is equal to whatever the user types into the prompt. So now let's hit run. And here's my prompt. What is your name? So let's say that my name is now Jack Bauer, my favorite person in the world. And hit OK. Now, if I go into the console and I type your name and hit enter, the computer knows the value that's associated with that variable is Jack Bauer. So now we can create an alert that combines the values of both of those variables. So we can write alert, my name is space plus my name as the variable plus comma space welcome to my course space plus the second variable, which is your name, plus finally maybe an exclamation mark. And now we close off that line of code with a semicolon, and I don't need these 2 lines of code anymore because that data has already been committed to the memory of the computer. So I can delete that. And now if I hit run, then you can see that it's created this message. My name is Angela. Welcome to my course, Jack Bauer, exclamation mark. So you can see that it's substituted these 2 places for the value that's been stored inside my name and your name. And it's able to create this message without me having to explicitly say what these 2 things are. So in this lesson, I wanted to introduce you to the power of variables and how we can use it to store pieces of data. So we don't have to repeat ourselves and we can refer back to it later in the rest of our code. And on a more practical level, you might have a case where you create a variable that's called game level, and you set it equal to 1 to begin with. And then as the user goes through the levels, then you can change the value of game level each time. So say they complete the first level, then you can change this thing game level to 2, and then you can keep changing this as they progress. And whenever you or the user wants to find out which level, then you can simply use an alert and say, show the game level. Now you'll see 3. Or if you want to make it more fancy, then you can add a string that says your level is currently space plus game level. So you see that your level is currently 3. Now, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. In the next lesson, we're going to look at some of the rules around how you should name your variables. So for all of that and more, I'll see you on the next lesson.